Hey everyone, today is going to be the first video for a Grunts and Crafts episode. Today we're going to be making something fairly special. A DIY dump pouch for a SADF style pattern 83 battle jacket. Now with fully stitched constructions like this, which I prefer, but with fully stitched constructions setups like this system and a couple of others that are out there, you have a certain amount of pouches that are stitched on here and allocated. This is the one I'm giving away, by the way. So stay tuned. At 1,500 subscribers, I will draw names, and this one will be given away. I customized it. That aside, for pattern 83 SADF style battle jacket, behind the kind of your like 5 o'clock and 7 o'clock areas where your large hydration pouches and ancillary cargo pouches are, behind there you have this open area, this adjustment point with padding, kidney padding. This is 6.5 inches tall or long, and I'm going to make the wraparound strapping probably about 3 inches wide. So what I'm going to do, you see these adjustments here. So with a specialized dump pouch for a pattern 83 SADF style battle jacket system, what I'll be able to do is I'll be able to make a looping system that's stitched and attached to itself for the dump pouch. So you just undo these, put it on, feed that through, get the adjustments all good, and then boom, you're good to go again. You'll have a dump pouch here, a good sized dump pouch. So I'm going to show you that construction process here. But again, about 3 inches wide here for the width of the banding that's going to go around the back side and stitch to the pouch, and about 7.5 inches long to give myself space to stitch at the bottom so that it secures and you have a securing loop that you can feed all this through and secure the dump pouch to this rig. Not permanently, obviously. You'll be able to remove it if you undo these adjustments, but it's not going to come off because it's a stitched dump pouch. It's not Molly, it's not Velcro or anything like that. It's going to be fairly simple, but again, a DIY thing, so it's going to fit on here. So some of the initial measurements for that, as far as the dump pouch size, it's okay if it's going to come over the back a little bit. Like, that doesn't matter. It's extra pouch that you need here as a dump pouch for putting empty magazines in, things you pick up or recover, whatever it is. There are many purposes for a dump pouch. That's not really a point of contention here. So some of the initial measurements for that, for getting the looping backing around the back and for a loop to fit in here. Now you could also possibly feed the padding on the underside through the loop that I'm going to make for the dump pouch, but really it's just to go around these, much like how some of this other stuff is, and you see the stitching there and everything's connected kind of internally. So that's how it's going to work. It's going to work well, and again, it's you have 4 adjustment points here, 3 to 4 adjustment points here, so downward pressure tension, that's not going to be an issue with this stuff. And tape and police your tails, because that's just what you should be doing anyway. So, but yeah, so that's kind of the premise for fitting a DIY dump pouch in this area, because it is real estate here, and why not put something there? Because, and I'm making this for a buddy. It's something that he requested that I make, so this is the first DIY project component that I'm going to make specifically for a pattern 83 SADF style battle jacket system. Okay, with some of the initial stuff aside, let's cut over and I'll show you some of the shapes that are going to be cut and things like that, okay? Okay, so now we've done some measurements and we've done some cutting. It doesn't have to be perfect. This is a DIY thing, but you'll be able to make it work for yourself. So this tail, which is going to be folded over at this point here and then stitched on the back side, is going to be the loop that everything feeds through. So the opening of the dump pouch is going to be at the top of the pouches and at the top of the banding here, okay? Which is kind of where you want it, okay? You need to make it easy to be able to reach and get in there, because it is kind of in a back position on your rig, to be able to easily put stuff in there as well as reach in there. So it's a good height for it, because it's the same height as the other pouches. So Again, 7.5 to 8 inches here. Okay, no big deal. It's gonna fold over here, and you're gonna stitch it on the backside. You'll see that wide, like width. I've made this 18 inches wide. Okay, so you can imagine. Now there's a lot of material here, so you can imagine. You know, when it gets rolled over, you look at that depth. You're gonna have a pretty good sized dump pouch. Okay. So about 18 inches wide. You can do 20 inches, whatever, to give yourself a little bit more capacity in here, but it's going to be able to hold a bunch of stuff. And it is, from here down, is 14 inches long. Okay, so, and I'll have all these measurements written out in the video description about the measurements that I used and things like that. But now we've got the pattern cut, okay? This is 500 denier, Ranger green, Cordura nylon. This side is the standard outer nylon, the Ranger green, and on the inside it does. This is the type that has a little bit of almost a waterproofing to it on the inside. Not quite like a rubberization, but it does have some water protection to it, which is a good thing. No, I'm not creating a lid for this. It's a dump pouch. You don't really need one, okay? So, again, just a simple dump pouch, but it's something that is relatively easy to make. Okay, so that gives you an idea of what the template looks like. That'll fold over the back. These will get the ends will get stitched together, and the opening, the bottom, I'm not going to do another piece and stitch the bottom. I don't have the proper sewing machine for that, so it's going to end up being kind of tacoed together and stitched heavily along that line. I'll be sure to add drainage in there too. Okay, so you'll see what that looks like when it's done. But this is what the template looks like here. So we will cut over to what it looks like with the process of getting it stitched up. Okay. Okay, so here's now the final product. So you got the feed through. I stitched the shit out of that. Now you have to connect the ends around. So initially you're stitching it inside out, and then you flip it inside out. And now you can do the bottom edge stitching. You can do that inside out too, and then flip it inside out. I would say do this strapping first, get that stitch down, and then you can start doing the stitching as you need to on the other side. And then once it's all done, you can flip it inside out. You just have to make sure you're stitching this on the right side, okay? But there it is. It's all sealed up. I did cut one slot for drainage down here. I can, or my buddy I made this for can put a grommet in there. I just made a slot so that it does drain. It's not going to tear. Putting a grommet in there is just going to reinforce that though, and that's easy enough to do. I've already cut the hole for him if he needs to do it. But there you go. Let's get some light in there. That's a pretty big dump pouch right there. That'll hold a few magazines, quite a few magazines. That'll hold you can fit a drum in there even, possibly. You know, it's big. And so then this will feed right on here on the pattern 83. It's going to feed right there. And that's fine. It can stick out more. It's floppy. You can tuck it in as you need to. But it's going to fit right in here, okay? So you just undo these strappings, you feed them through this, reattach them, police the tails up and everything, and then you have a dump pouch installed on here. And then this will chill. And again, you can roll this up if you want. Just take a couple of rubber bands on each end. If you're rolling it up, just a couple of rubber bands on each end or whatever, and you're good to go. This is a very simple dump pouch. But that's kind of the premise for the design with it. So that's what it looks like in the long term. And I stitched the shit out of this because I didn't want anything falling apart. I've done like 4 passes, on each of them, Like this seam I did, I think 3 passes. Like that I stitched a bunch. Like I've done 4 passes down here. So, and then it's bonded nylon thread. Okay, so use a lighter just like you would with paracord to melt the ends and things like that. Helps keep it from coming undone, any of the stitching you do. But there it is. I mean, this is light. Being 500 denier, it's really light. so it'll hold together really well. And there you go, boom, dump pouch. It is a little bit longer than like your canteen size hydration pouches on there, okay, but that's fine. Again, it flops around and it's in the back area, so it's out of the way. It's just one of those. It's just one of those things. It was my buddy came to me with the idea to do this, and I was like, yeah, I can do that. So again, it's a very simple dump pouch. It is not anything fancy or special, but it is something, you know, that is going to work and hold together and fit his needs for his rig. Okay, so there you go. Pattern 83 SADF style battle jacket dump pouch to attach on the adjustment lead lines on the back end, kind of in your kidney area behind your hydration pouch, whether it's the right or left side, doesn't matter. It'll go on either side. You could make two and put one on each side, whatever you want to do. It's just something to plus up some of the cargo capacity. And this can give you some ideas for doing it for a Smirch rig too. Give you some ideas for Alice web gear, whatever too. LBE systems in general and things like that. It's a very simple dump pouch. It is not anything special. Could make a lid for it. Could stitch on, you know, some Velcro flap lid or something. Whatever you want to do. Again, it's light and it rolls up nice and small. Okay? So, there it is. That is the end result. So, thanks for tuning in, y'all. And, yeah, more Grunts and Crafts DIY projects coming soon. I'm not a professional at this. You know, this is my second time doing this kind of thing, apart from learning how to use a sewing machine and building the prototype Risky Recondo rig. Which might have some news coming soon about that. Not just yet, though. But, you know, just doing these kinds of things. So, thanks again for all the comments and ideas in the prior video that I put out asking for them. So more of this kind of stuff coming soon. So stay tuned. Thanks a lot. Hopefully it gives you some ideas. Again, I will have the measurements that I used for the for fabric for this, for a very basic dump pouch, in the description. Okay. Metal up. Out.